Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Tech Tinktronics channel where we're going to tinker and learn. Today, we're going to be discussing the Apple iPhone SE3.
The third-age iPhone SE, otherwise called the iPhone SE3 or the iPhone SE 2022, is a cell phone planned and created by Apple Inc. It is important for the 15th era of the iPhone, close by the iPhone 13/13 smaller than expected and iPhone 13 Pro/13 Pro Max models. Apple reported the third-age iPhone SE on March 8, 2022, which succeeded the second-age iPhone SE. Pre-orders started on March 11. 2022. The telephone was delivered a while later on March 18, 2022. It was delivered with a beginning cost of $429, a $30 increment over its ancestor.
So that's what we have. It's the low end model of the iPhone. If you want to get into the iPhone, this is something that you want to start with if you don't want to put out too much money for an iPhone, because iPhones are generally expensive, and this is just a good start if you're just coming from Android over to the iPhone arena. Um, so a little bit more about the iPhone S3.
According to Wikipedia, the third-generation model offers its predecessor's aspects and form factor while sharing selected inner parts from the iPhone 13 arrangement, remembering the A15 Bionic framework for chip.
And then what I'm going to do is discuss some of the display.
Display. The iPhone SE features a similar HD Retina display found on its ancestor, utilizing IPS innovation with True Tone and wide variety range. Display P3. The display has a goal of 1334 x 750 pixels, similar to the past 4.7 in 120 mm iPhones. The pixel thickness is 326 ppi, equivalent to on all iPhones with LCD since the presentation of the Retina display on the iPhone 4, barring the Plus models. It can play HDR10 and Dolby Vision content in spite of not having a HDR prepared display, done
That's
by
impressive.
down-changing over the HDR content to fit the display while as yet having a few upgrades to dynamic reach, contrast, and wide variety range contrasted with standard content.
So that's the display, and that's quite a bit to digest there. We're going to talk about the camera.
Camera. The iPhone SE has a back 12MP camera with a single focal point, like the single focal point camera arrangement of its ancestor, fit for recording 4K video at 24, 25, 30, or 60 frames per second, 1080p HD video at 25, 30 or 60 frames per second, or 720p HD video at 30 frames per second. The camera has an opening of 1.8, self-adjust, optical picture stabilization, and a quad LED True Tone streak. The phone can likewise take panoramas up to 63 MP, and shoot photographs in burst mode. The front camera is 7 MP with an opening of f2.2 and self-adjust, fit for shooting 1080p HD video at 25 or 30 frames per second and slow movement video at 120 frames per second. The third generation SE adds a few camera functions empowered by the A15 Bionic 11. Like the 13 and 13 Pro, the back camera upholds Smart HDR4. The back camera additionally upholds stretched out unique reach video up to 30 frames per second, sound system recording and artistic video adjustment. Both the front and back cameras of the iPhone SE support portrait mode and portrait lighting. The SE's implementation of portrait mode just natively upholds pictures of people, as the equipment doesn't create profundity maps using center pixels and on second thought depends around programming-based AI. Like the 13 and 13 Pro, portrait mode has profundity control and a high-level bokeh impact, obscuring impact of the out-of-center foundation around the picture. The third generation SE upholds deep fusion and photographic styles, however needs support for certain features, for example, night mode and cinematic mode because of more seasoned sensor equipment.
And then we'll take a look at the hardware itself and see what that's about.
Hardware. The iPhone SE incorporates the Apple A15 Bionic 5nm engineering framework on a chip, SoC, with a coordinated movement coprocessor and 5th generation brain motor. It is accessible in 3 setups: 64 GB, 128 GB, and 256 GB. 2. It has 4 GB of RAM, an increment over the course of the 2nd generation model's 3 GB of RAM. 12. The 3rd generation iPhone SE has a similar IP67 rating for residue and water opposition as its predecessor. 2. The phone comes up short on super wideband features empowered by the U1 chip found in the iPhone 13 and 13 Pro. Notwithstanding the telephone's more modest size, which increased thermal throttling, the SE's A15 SoC runs at similar pinnacle CPU frequencies as the iPhone 13. Like its ancestor, the 3rd generation iPhone SE doesn't include a standard 3.5mm sound system earphone jack.
Okay, so let's get forward to, let's look at some of the graphics that I have here. First, I want to talk about the specs. You know what I mean? We have operating system. This is according to spectex.com. Got iOS 15.3, but that's probably going to update sooner or later. And it's got a 4.7-inch display with an Apple A15 CPU with 3 GB of RAM, and it comes in 64, 128, 256 GB storage with a 12 megapixel camera. Now let's fast forward to some of these reviews here. All right, on the Google system, you get like 4.1 user reviews, 81 reviews for this device. And according to one guy, switched from Android, and he says that basically he decided to get the iPhone SE 2022 red 128 gigabyte. According to Wired, the cheapest iPhone has the same processor as the most expensive iPhone, but it doesn't feel very special. According to CNET, with its iPhone 13 processing power and iPhone 8 design, the 3rd generation SE is the cheapest ticket to everything Apple. And that's very well said. And let's get more to the user reviews. Like, you'll see quite a disparity of reviews here. Like, you know, one guy is 4-star happy with it, and the bottom line of his review is that the battery is decent and he's not a power user. And the SE 2022 takes great pictures. And this next guy bought a refurbished unit, but he's talking about SE Generation 1, so we'll skip that. Now, this third one is interesting, and it's come up with 1 star, and they talk about calls, and then it was this issue with the new phone, which, you know, I guess they had to break out the old iPhone 6, if you read the review, to basically get it back up and running as far as their calls are concerned. So if you are interested in getting the iPhone SE3, I'll have a link down below from Amazon. As an Amazon associate, I earn on qualifying purchases. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, to cover the pros, it's the quickest performance for the price, very good photo quality, and it has a more durable design, and it's also compact and easy to handle with one hand. The cons are the small display, the large bezels, no night mode for camera, and doesn't support mmWave 5G. So that's really it. And be sure to like this video on the way out. Leave a comment if you have any ideas or thoughts about it. And be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.